Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today, brand new episode of the Cabral Concept. These are our weekend Cabral HouseCalls where I get to answer your questions each and every weekend. Looking forward to getting through about a half a dozen today and about the same tomorrow. If you'd like to follow along with the questions that I'll be answering today, you can head on over to stephencabral.com/2619. We'll have all the questions right there. And of course, while you're there, if you haven't already picked up a free copy of my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, please feel free to do so. I pay for the printing of it. We just ask that you pay for the shipping, and we ship that all over the US. If you're looking for it internationally, you can find it at stephencabral.com/shop, which takes you right over to Equalife, and you'll be able to search it there. We sell it at the lowest possible cost, basically. You can't get it less than anywhere else, and that's the goal. The goal is that we just try to get that information to as many people as possible, and if there are any profits left, they get donated to charity. So the book is sold on Amazon. All those profits, 100% go to charity, and same with any on Equalife as well. So that is it. Hopefully you can get that information. You can help me get that information to as many people as possible. But right now, let's get to your questions. First question's from Amber. And Amber says, hello, I'm looking for information on the COVID-19 long hauler issue. I'm experiencing some symptoms and wanted to figure out how your program works. All right, so what I wanted to share with you is that I have lots of free information on this, lots of it. And you can go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. Then you'll see images at the top of that page. And those are podcasts delineated by topic. So you'll see the latest virus updates. Haven't done one in a while, but you'll see them on COVID long haulers. Again, it's called so many different things. But what I want you to do is check that out, and you'll see that it's actually been something that's been around for a long time. We're just giving it the long hauler's name. It is actually associated with many viral-based issues. Epstein-Barr virus, mononucleosis, which you could link to Epstein-Barr, with Lyme disease, and many others, okay? So I share with you, it's essentially called myalgic encephalomyelitis, how it affects the mitochondria, how if you took antibiotics, those affect the mitochondria, the real goal is to build back the immune system and balance it, because what can happen is the immune system is so heightened during a virus like that the body becomes inflamed and stays inflamed from that over-exaggeration of the immune system. Now, it wasn't over-exaggerated when you're the virus, but if the body's not balanced and it can't bring it back to homeostasis, that's what happens, all right? So I outline all of that, obviously completely free, and you'll find that right over at stephencabral.com/podcasts, all right? Summer's up next. Summer says, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all that you do and share with everyone. Searching for answers. Several years ago, my brother was doing the Wim Hof exercises and heard a pop in his left temple, followed by a sharp pressure type in that area for days to weeks. He was told by a chiropractor that it's a sinus issue. We are skeptical of this because there are no sinuses near the temple. Since then, he has had similar episodes, but no popping sound. He feels like there is pressure in the vein that runs across the temple. He ends up with that same sharp pressurized pain every time and takes weeks to heal. The pain is worsened by any exertion, singing, raising his voice, bending over, breathing exercise, etc. Any ideas as to what this could be? He lives a healthy plant-based lifestyle. Thanks. Okay, Summer, happy to help. And, it's very nice of you writing in for, did you say it was your brother? Let's see. Yes, your brother. Okay, just want to make sure I got that relationship correct. And so, the Wim Hof exercise is an intense form of you're breathing in, you're creating a lot of oxygen, then you're creating a state of hypoxia. And anyway, I've talked about it before many times. It helps to essentially elicit norepinephrine, so adrenaline. And that is why I'm not always the biggest advocate of Wim Hof breathing. It doesn't mean that I don't think that there's a time and place. I just don't want to say that, Wim Hof breathing solves everything as a panacea. And also it's not good for a lot of people with adrenal-based issues, thyroid issues, exaggerated immune responses, right? Because you're literally getting the adrenaline pumping in your body, potentially increasing cortisol levels as well. So again, there's a time and place for everything. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because it's actually been around for thousands of years. Certain monks used to practice this specific, I believe it was Tiamo monks originated it. But anyway, I digress. So it does sound like, again, I always have to give you now I cannot give you any medical treatments, medical diagnostics, medical plans, medical advice, any of those medical things. So let's get to it though. It does sound like there is some type of vasodilation, vasoconstriction-based area. Sometimes chiropractors look for it in what's called the trigeminal area behind the ears, where the carotid artery and other arteries can start to intersect and come up towards the head. It could be a vascular issue. There could be high histamine levels, which can be exacerbated by overexertion. Be interesting to see if caffeine helps or hurts this condition, since caffeine is going to potentially help with vasoconstriction, dilation-based issues. So what there is a vein and there are arteries. There's a temporal artery that we want to make sure there's no issues with. So it's very hard for me to give you exactly what to do, right? So what would we do? Okay, well, we would look at balancing inflammation levels. We would look at potentially his cortisol levels. We would look at neurotransmitters. We would look at all these things. And you can find those labs, the Big Five and others, at stevencabral.com/labs. But to put your brother's fears at bay and your own, you may actually want to have an ultrasound or scan done of the arteries in that area. And that would help you to see if there are any blockages or kind of a generalized term, crimps in that specific area where blood flow is impeded. And that may not be a bad thing to do. So definitely chat with your there's obviously neurologist-based specialists in this area, but your doctor about this, and I would take it from there. Because if it continues to persist, you'll certainly want to have a medical-based diagnosis, all right? Sorry I couldn't be of more help. I would love to be, but I just want to make sure that there's no serious life-threatening issues, and so I do want to refer you out, okay? Kathy's up next. I have listened to your podcast on toxic cookware and safe cookware. I'm still not entirely clear on guidance on popular items like Staub, S-T-A-U-B, which you did not mention specifically. Staub is an enamel-coated cast item. I think that probably says iron. And I have reached out to the company who claims they have tested their interior being lead cadmium free. Should I be concerned with the outside testing positive for either of those? Lots of online experts claiming this can rub off on the interior when pans are stored or washed. Thoughts on safety and regular use? Oh, interesting. Okay, so I don't know this company. I want everybody to know I have all of the companies that I use, myself personally, my family, at stevencabral.com/resources. They are cast iron, legit cast iron. They are glass-based ware. They are, there's no non-stick there. Ceramic, those are the main types, okay? So you can find those all at stevencabral.com/resources, and those are the ones that I've researched. I don't know this company, and I don't know the enamel coating on the outside. Now, the interior of a pan honestly doesn't matter as much, and I want to share with you why. I actually don't really have an issue with an aluminum core pan. It makes the pan lighter, it heats up faster, but what you don't want is your food coming in contact with the metals that are an issue. Now, having said that, we don't have any aluminum pans at all, but a stainless steel pan, that's another one that we use, and then you can obviously have copper pans as well. All of those are acceptable. So if this product has been tested for its interior, fine, but you have to worry about what is your food coming in contact with the exterior. And if the exterior is a concern, well, then I wouldn't use a product where the exterior is a concern. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about this company. I don't know this company at all, but I know what to look for. Because what happens is when you use a spatula, especially if that spatula is metal, the metal against the enamel or the metal against anything is scraping microscopic flecks of that into your food. I talked about that on Thursday's show. Hopefully you check that out. They're called forever chemicals. Very, very dangerous. So my recommendation is don't use anything, don't buy anything that you don't know is safe for sure, because there's so many alternatives, right? There's so many that we know good alternatives. We can just go with one of those. All right. So hopefully that was helpful, Kathy. Jillian's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. My hobby, unfortunately, has unhealthy hours that I don't have much control over. I live in Colombia and salsa dance frequently, implementing a particular lifestyle of dance that gets my heart rate up substantially, sometimes as much as a HIIT workout in a single song. Events never start earlier than 9 p.m. Knowing that I can't change these hours, what are the best practices, supplements, habits I can do to support my adrenals, health, and sleep quality? I already sleep with a mask and earplugs and eat WFPB and do not whole food plant-based. Got it. Okay, I was like, what does WFPB mean? Whole food plant-based. I'm assuming it's whole food plant-based. And do not consume alcohol or caffeine. Thank you for everything you do. All right, Jillian, happy to help you. So that's the thing is like, yes, ideally you want to slow down the body after 7 p.m., 7 p.m. You want to start to get ready a couple hours before bed with less blue light. If you don't know what I'm talking about, follow the 3-2-1 formula for your best sleep ever. You can find it at StephenCabral.com. Just type in 3-2-1 sleep formula and you'll find it. If you ever can't find a topic, just go to CabralSupportGroup.com and ask. We'll find the podcast for you. And there's now over, today's 2619. There's over 2,600 podcasts. And what I'm trying to do is create an open source directory of all things unbiased health, because that's how I look at it. Meaning, if I don't want to have a bias, that's the truth. If I have a bias, then I'm going to miss something that would be beneficial for my family, for my practice, and everyone in our community. So, all right. So you have the sleep mask, you've got the earplugs, so you're getting obviously blackout, no noise, all of that. So the thing is, you just need to, when you finish with your salsa, because again, I don't want to, something you enjoy, I can tell that. So you do it as few nights a week as maybe you can or you choose to. And then on those nights, you're trying to ramp down the body as quickly and easily as possible. I don't know if you need to eat after that or if you're okay not eating afterwards. That's kind of up to you. If you eat, I typically recommend something easier to digest. So like a smoothie, shake, something like that. Much easier. You don't have to do as much fruit. Obviously, it's before bed. So that can just be something. And then use things to ramp the body down, calm the body faster. So Adrenal Soothe and Magnesium are going to be those two products. So Adrenal Soothe knocks down those cortisol levels and stress levels, and Magnesium calms the central nervous system. So those are my first two. If you need something stronger, you can check out the Sleep Help Protocol at StephenCabral.com/shop. So full spectrum magnesium and Adrenal Soothe, you can find those at StephenCabral.com/shop. And then there's liquid melatonin and sleep help support if you need to go deeper. All right. So let's do one more question today. This one's from Ashley, and Ashley says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been listening to all of your podcasts in which you address ADD and ADHD, and I'm wondering if there's a reason why, when addressing this topic, you and others only talk about kids dealing with it and not adults. Do most kids outgrow it or something? The reason I'm listening to the podcast on this topic is because I have a couple of adult friends who have told me that they majorly struggle with ADD and ADHD, and I'm trying to help them gain some knowledge. I appreciate your insight. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, it's a great question, Ashley. It really is. So everything that I recommend for ADD and ADHD applies for adults as well. So I'm looking at gut testing, looking at heavy metals, looking at cortisol levels, looking at, those are the biggest ones. Then looking at vitamin deficiencies and mineral imbalances like calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and then higher levels of copper. So yeah, without a doubt, if you can only run 2 labs, 100% you run the starter kit. Like not even a question in my mind. I've run the starter kit with tens of thousands of children, so many children. And thousands, and my team's probably run them with 10,000 plus. And so again, it's called a starter kit. And then if you do the big 5, because then you can look at your omega-6 levels that cause issues like omega-6s. It's hardly ever talked about, but some medical doctors are talking about it more and more, which is nice. So they're telling their patients. But low levels of omega-3s can absolutely lead to higher levels of ADD and ADHD, as well as allergies and asthma. And you'll see like a lot of those kids all have the same thing. So, okay, so why do health practitioners talk about it more with children than adults? Here's why. Because 50% or greater of adults will so-called outgrow, I'm using that in air quotes if you're not watching this on video, outgrow ADD and ADHD. But really what it means is that they're better able to deal with any of the struggles that they've had, earlier in life and may continue to have. Or some of them have fixed the issues, and and their body's just more equipped at detoxification, et cetera, as they get older. So there's a little bit to do with it, but I do agree that it's a very large population of adults, especially as in industrialized countries with more pollution, more pesticides, more toxicity. So my big thing is for those people, the best thing that you could do, if possible, is get them a copy of The Rain Barrel Effect. Again, it's free at StephenCabral.com. And have them just start to understand the process, start to detoxify the body, start to move the body, start to make better food choices. Like all of these things make tremendous difference. They make tremendous difference in children as well, of course. Like children and adults should be following the same types of protocols for ADD and ADHD. So hopefully that was helpful, Ashley. I appreciate you writing in really great questions from the community. I'll be answering more of our community's questions tomorrow, so stay tuned. Enjoy your weekend. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at StephenCabral.com/podcasts. That will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.